Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 7 of Flooded Temples. Today we're going to look at the old Mississippian mound building culture that existed in North America between 900 CE and 1600 CE. And specifically we'll look at some of the new data out of core samples found at Monk's Mound out of Illinois, which show that people there were very interested in using a mineral called Vivianite in their day-to-day lives. Vivianite is a hydrated iron phosphate. It's usually powdery white or very light blue until it's exposed to air, at which time it oxidizes and it turns purple then black. In the context of the Native American mound culture, Vivianite was mostly just used for a dye, typically reserved for headdresses and masks and other parts of the shaman's regalia. Vivianite caught my interest when I watched a conversation between the gentlemen of the Round Table Chronicles on YouTube, where Vince Barrows mentioned that in some of the core samples, on the top of the black clay layers, they also found a thin layer of Vivianite. And another gentleman named Rick Osmond mentioned that he thought maybe these black clay heat-altered layers could have been there to hold water. Now, if you know me and you're not new to my channel, you'll know that any ancient structure found up on a peak that seems to have been built to hold stormwater, I'm going to try and put plasma activated water in it, or at least try and figure out a way that they might have. So already encouraged by the fact that it's well known in the archaeological record that the people located at these mounds left behind copper staffs and mica, which are two important materials if you want to try and control electricity. And they seem to be building flat pools at the tops of their mounds to collect stormwater. So I decided to Google Vivianite to see if there's a connection between it and plasma water. Lo and behold, Vivianite and plasma water go hand in hand to create a non-toxic substance that when mixed will fizz and turn blue, while neutralizing the hydrogen peroxide in the water. It quickly removes acidity while releasing iron and phosphate, creating a milder and more nutrient-enriched solution. For plants, this means because of its slow release of iron and phosphorus, it enhances plants' growth and helps prevent iron chlorosis. For people, it reduces potential acid-related digestive discomfort while preserving nitric oxide species. After making this discovery, it seemed like an obvious follow-up question to search for other non-toxic minerals that were available in ancient times that would have the same or similar reaction that Vivianite does to plasma water. The first one that comes up is manganese dioxide. It's a pigment used in antiquity that has the next best hydrogen peroxide reduction rate as Vivianite. But unfortunately, excess manganese is not ideal for long-term consumption. The second ones that come up are iron oxides such as hematite and goethite, also known as red and yellow ochre in their earthy forms. They do the job but not nearly as fast because they catalyze the breakdown of hydrogen peroxide using the surface-like Fenton reaction. That means the finer it's powdered and the bigger the mixing pool is, the more it's going to break down the acids quickly. I don't want to veer off topic too much and I want to stick with the Native American mound culture. But at this point, I want to try and make a connection between hematite and another culture thousands of miles away, where you definitely found people who collected and controlled stormwater at the tops of peaks and incorporated large pools into their architecture. If you search, you'll find evidence of extensive grinding and powdering of red ochre, presumably to add to whatever rituals they're performing in those big pools. And that culture, if you haven't already guessed, is the Tas-Tepler culture with places like Gobekli Tepe and Karenhan Tepe. Another thing that interests me about this culture before we get back to North America is the fact that these Tas-Tepler folks used to have a slight obsession with their junk. There are theories out there that only people whisper about, that maybe they were masturbating to make it rain. I don't discount that. God knows people masturbate for much less noble reasons. Still, my best guess is the erections are a salute to the power of nitric oxide in plasma-activated water that can dilate blood vessels and therefore help with libido. At this point, if you're wondering what are all the things that plasma-activated water could do for us and plants, it's best to go back and watch my episode number 5 at Ellora Caves where I lay it all out.
Welcome to episode 5 of Flooded Temples, the Ellora Caves. Here, the Shiva Lingam and Amrita, the nectar of the gods, are deeply connected.
Let's get back to the mound culture and take a look at another discovery by Jason Huffman, a gentleman from the Round Table Chronicles. Jason, who's incredibly interested in Cahokia, found what he thinks is lightning glass by Tuskegee Mound in Alabama. I think he correctly identified it as lightning glass, also known as fulgurite. Typically, fulgurites don't form very large, but when they do, they can reach meters in length, and usually present as thick tree roots in the ground or partially in the ground. They snap easily when stepped on, so you usually find them in chunks. However, they're still easily distinguishable from their close cousin known as the tektite. Tektites are formed from heat by atmospheric explosions, say from meteorites. These tektites are usually smaller than glass formed by lightning, and because they re-solidify in the air as they rain down, they get pitted and form little droplets, oval cookies, and even sometimes dumbbells. The most interesting thing about the glass Jason found is the deep blue layered colors found in it. If it's true lightning glass and not dyed with colorants, then that blue color indicates a prolonged heat event and/or the presence of copper. If you look for similar examples, it appears more like what we found when we encounter man-made lightning glass formed by accident by our high-voltage power lines. Now, I'm not saying that Vivianite at the tops of these mounds or lightning glass found around them are anything more than anecdotal evidence that the Native American mound cultures were manipulating their environment in order to control lightning and make plasma-activated water. But still, to me, it's definitely becoming the simplest answer, or what's known as Occam's razor. Why else would such a large percentage of ancient ruins found around the world be built on natural peaks or artificial ones and show such an uncanny ability to control stormwater? Anyways, folks, that's my take on it. I hope you like this episode of Flooded Temples. Shortly after this episode, I'm going to air a trip I took out to the Canal Flats in beautiful British Columbia, Canada, where supposedly there's still one of the 2 Vivianite mines left. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you guys will watch. Thanks again. All the best.